Okay, what's up everyone? Hi there. It's me again. I'm still working on this final page of the Dreamz project, and I'm just trying to finish this final panel. I have my limited color selection here. I'm just doing some coloring. And in this panel, it just shows the Dryad walking away, and you see the destroyed helmet of the space pilot. So I have the email with the palette here in my reference image, and the cool thing about the reference image is you can actually you can do the dropper colors right from the image. So in this case, I grab this purple and I can put it in. Let me make sure I'm on the right layer. Okay, this is the right layer. I guess this was what would be called flatting, although yeah, this is flatting. There's probably a smarter way to do this, but you know me. And what I'm doing is I'm just being very rough with it right now because I'm going to go through with an eraser and kind of remove where it doesn't belong. Normally we could just kind of easily flood fill this out, but because it's these trees, these roots and trees and things, I thought I would just kind of hand do a certain amount of it. And you could still get it wrong. I think this one goes like this. If we drop it in, there we go. All right, so there's a flood fill. And then I've got another one up here. The one thing I'm not sure about yet is how to do the ground plane. Like there is a ground plane that she's walking on, and otherwise she looks like she's floating. So we want to make sure that we choose something. I can either do it with maybe shading or choose a different color. I've got this limited palette. That's the only palette I can work from by the rules of the project. What if we do it like this? It kind of works. We could even do like a light from above. That might be kind of cool actually. And we could do some shade behind her so the light's coming down and we see shade underneath her branches and you know, her body forms and maybe behind her. For right now, let's call that okay, but let's zoom in and make sure that we're erasing in the right places and everything. These are meant to be like little leaves. I just use like kind of abstract shapes just to get the sense of a leaf rather than actually you know, painstakingly render a leaf. Trying to get away from the idea of rendering everything and get more into the realm of cartooning. You know, if it was good enough for George Harriman, right? If it's good enough for even Joe Kubert, he didn't render everything. I was looking at his Tarzan, and you know, Tarzan's a good choice to look at just because of the way it uses all those jungle scenes. And he was rendering incredible looking jungles. Whoops, we want this orange color. He was doing some incredible looking jungles, but he wasn't fussy about them, you know? And I think that is cartooning. Like that's the essence of cartooning, is to not be too fussy. And you can see it, just even having these kind of floating leaves out here, it lends it a sort of a texture and it seems to work. Like if you go over the top in rendering, and now let me show you an example. This take me a second. Hang on. This is Cruel Universe. This is, well, first of all, this is proof that I occasionally still do buy real comics. This In a Strange Land, take a look at this page. Is there anything that strikes you as a little odd? Well, you've got this obvious cartooned and very cool spaceship looking thing. And then the planet is just CGI. Now, part of this is kind of the EC way. They used photo collage in EC comics back in the day, and so this is an EC type comic. That's the cartoonist excuse. Here's my take on it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't look right. It worked okay when EC did it because they were on newsprint. And newsprint lends a sort of distortion that made it look right. And also they used photographs as opposed to CGI. The rest of this is actually quite well drawn, in my opinion. I quite like it. Anyways, Cruel Universe, and the second the second story here is written by Ann Nocenti, so very cool. Some of these guys, they can't help themselves. They got to try and fit in some political messaging here, like the fittest here. These guys can't help themselves. And the final story in here is Derelict Ship. It's William C. Gaines and Al Feldstein wrote that story. All right, well, anyways. Let's get back to the matter at hand. The question should never be like, is it okay to include a photo or a different technique or whatever? The real question is, does it work? Like, and if it works, it doesn't matter, right? But if it doesn't work, if it looks jarring or weird or makes the reader kind of question it, or if there's something else that you could have added in there to change it a little bit, for example, using a photograph instead of a like a computer-generated image, that probably should have been considered. And why not just draw it? It's just a planet. It's not, I mean, it's round. It's not, you wouldn't have had to have done a lot to do it, and it would have worked fine. So that's my philosophy of cartooning. You know, don't get so clever that you've gone above, beyond what really works. And I guess, and my other thing is, this isn't a case of somebody who wasn't good enough to draw. They're obviously a great cartoonist. Like the art on the rest of the entire story is really good. It was just a choice. I'm gonna use the CGI one. And the reasoning actually is sound, you know, that, hey, this is how they used to do things at EC Comics. They would use photo collage. Wally Wood did it. Kirby did it. Photo collage can be interesting and cool. I just wish somebody's internal editor, or perhaps an actual editor, had popped in and said, you know what, let's just go ahead and draw it. It's not an overly critical thing to say, hey, it's not working, but I bet you it'll look fine if we do it this way. Anyway. So here I am coloring it in. And this is toddler level coloring. I'm just coloring inside the lines and erasing it outside the lines. This is also, by the way, a zine level publication, so it's, even if it's not perfect, that's totally okay. Okay, I think this is fine. Like, this is the actual size. It's gonna be around this size, like about that size. So we don't have to go into super detail, but we do have to do some shading. So let's do some shading. The darkest color I have on my palette is this dark magenta. And as you can already see, we're already using that dark magenta as our quote unquote black line, but we can still use some of it for shading. The one I like is, I think there's one I have called Epic Pastels. That's the one. All right, let's use some thick pastel, and we'll just back the opacity off. Oh, it's too big. Let's make this smaller. And the important thing to remember here, let me make sure I'm on the right layer. The important thing to remember here, and this is where I'm going to end the video, is that the darkest shades should be closest to the viewer in most cases. And then we're going to go lighter and lighter as we get further and further away. Let's go a little bit bigger down here. So it's okay to throw down some of this. And then we're going to get some smudge. And my smudge is the watercolor smudge. And I think I even have an Epic Pastels. Or do I? I think I have a pastel smudge that's pretty good. Maybe not. Let's go back to comic smudge. Let's do a smudge charcoal soft. So remember, since this is on a different layer, it's okay. We can scatter it pretty good, and what we'll end up doing is bringing out our eraser again. And carving out the light areas where the shadow isn't, and we can get some really nice sharp carves. So for example, this area right here, and then we can kind of carve out the light. A little bit. Okay. I think that's it for now for the video. I am going to continue working on this, and I'll probably have this done today. There's a highlight layer I'm going to do as well. And then tomorrow we're going to begin. I've got a new fantasy cover and a page full of incidental art for a zine for Dreamz magazine. So we're just going to do, I think he wanted like a page full of spot illustrations and a page full of 3 scenes that we could just make up, fantasy dungeon crawling scenes that can be put somewhere in the magazine. And so we can get real creative with those and kind of figure out what we want to do with them. All right. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and I will see you later.